In this video, I'll be revealing the critical action you must take before age 55 that causes retirement wealth to explode exponentially after crossing the $500,000 threshold. Through working with clients who've built substantial retirement wealth, I've discovered there's a specific strategy that must be implemented before 55 to unlock the compound growth potential that transforms that $500,000 into millions during your final working years. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to show you the exact pre-55 strategy that separates those who build massive retirement wealth from those who plateau at moderate savings levels. If you're new to this channel, I'm Cody Gunn. I'm a CFA charter holder and the founder of Arrowstone Wealth, where we help our clients retire early through smarter investing and lowering their lifetime taxes. And with that, let's dive right in. So let's talk about this $500,000 number. Why is this the magic number? For most people, reaching $500,000 in your retirement accounts is the single biggest financial climb of your life. Think about it. The journey from zero to $500,000, it was a grind, wasn't it? It took decades of disciplined saving and riding out market volatility. But $500,000 isn't just a milestone. It is the launch pad. It is the critical mass, the inflection point where the physics of your wealth building will fundamentally change. Why? Compound growth. At a conservative 7 to 8% average annual return, a $500,000 portfolio can start generating $35,000 to $40,000 a year by itself. At 10%, that jumps to $50,000 a year. For the first time in your life, your money is now doing some of the real heavy lifting. This capital base also unlocks the ability to use more sophisticated wealth optimization strategies, the very strategies that we're going to discuss. Reaching this $500,000 threshold is the validation that your approach works, but it's also the moment that determines whether you just retire comfortably or you retire wealthy. And that brings us to the first strategy, the one that protects this new explosive wealth from the single biggest drag on it. The $500,000 threshold creates acceleration potential, but the pre-55 Roth conversion strategy shows how to unlock tax-free wealth. I know exactly what many of you are thinking. Wait a minute, a Roth conversion? My accountant and I laugh about that. I make way too much money in my peak earnings years. That tax bill would be astronomical. And you would be 100% correct. While you're working, a Roth conversion for most of you is almost certainly a terrible idea. This strategy is not for your peak earnings years. This is the gap year Roth conversion strategy, and it's one of the most powerful moves a high earner can make immediately after they retire early. Think about it. The day you leave your W-2 job, say at 55, your income plummets from the 35 or 37% tax bracket down to maybe zero, depending on where you're getting your income from. You suddenly have this unique multi-year window. These are what they call the gap years, the golden period when you stop working, but before Social Security and required minimum distributions kick in. In these years, you are in the lowest adult tax bracket of your life. A Roth conversion in your gap years is you paying a one-time controlled fee. And critically, you're not paying that fee at your peak 37 or 39% tax bracket. You're paying it at a clearance rate, strategically filling up the 10, 12, and maybe even the 22% tax bracket year after year. And once you do it, all of the future growth is 100% yours, forever, no more taxes. This is powerful for two reasons. Number one, you diffuse the RMD tax bomb. Your real problem isn't the tax rate today, it's the tax rate waiting for you in your 70s. Required minimum distributions will force you to withdraw huge sums from your traditional accounts, often pushing you back into those high tax brackets during your retirement. By converting small portions in your gap years, you are starving those future high tax rate RMDs and filling up your current empty low income tax brackets. And number two, you create a flexibility bridge fund. When you convert money, the 5-year rule kicks in. You can access the converted principal tax-free and penalty-free after just 5 years. This means if you retire and convert at 55, you've built a powerful, flexible bridge of cash that you can access once you get to 60. This isn't a savings hack, this is strategic tax arbitrage. You're using your early retirement as the precise financial planning tool that it is, to choose your tax bracket rather than letting the government choose it for you later on. Roth conversions create tax-free growth, but the HSA maximization strategy shows how to build triple tax advantage wealth. Okay, let's be honest. For years, most people, even very smart, successful people, have viewed the health savings account as a little side pocket, a debit card for co-pays and prescriptions. And that is, without a question, the single biggest misconception in retirement planning. Using your HSA for current medical expenses is like finding out the emergency toolkit in your car trunk contains a winning lottery ticket, and then using that ticket to scrape the ice off your windshield. HSA is not a spending account, it is the ultimate retirement super vehicle. It's the only account in the entire US tax code that is triple tax advantaged. Your contributions are tax deductible on the way in, your money experiences tax-free growth, and your withdrawals are tax-free as long as they're for qualified healthcare expenses. Your 401k is tax deferred. Your Roth is tax-free on the back end. The HSA is both. And the strategy? Stop using it. Stop swiping that HSA debit card for your aspirin. Pay for that out of pocket. Instead, you need to maximize your HSA contributions, invest those contributions, and never touch it till you retire. But why pre-55? Yeah, you get those nice catch-up contributions starting at 55, but what's infinitely more valuable is having 5, 10, or even 15 years of tax-free compound growth before those catch-up contributions even start. You want that account to be as big as possible before you start piling more money in. Why is this so critical? Because what is the single biggest, most terrifying and unpredictable expense in retirement? Healthcare. By building this super vehicle, you are creating a dedicated, tax-free war chest to solve that exact problem. This frees up the rest of your portfolio, your Roths, your traditional accounts, to fund the fun part of retirement, the travel, the hobbies, even your grandkids. This strategy alone provides superior wealth accumulation and incredible peace of mind. Now that you understand HSA maximization, if you need help with your retirement planning, click the link below and book a call with me, and I'll analyze your specific situation to help you optimize your retirement plan as a whole. All right, now that we've covered that, let's talk about the engine of this wealth explosion, your asset allocation. There is an old, dusty, and frankly terrible piece of advice still floating around on the internet. You've heard it, 100 minus your age goes into stocks. By that logic, at 55, you should be 45% stocks and 55% bonds. Let me be very clear. If your goal is a wealth explosion, that is a recipe for a wealth plateau. Your 50s are not your 70s. You're in your peak earnings years with 10, 15, maybe even a 20-year time horizon before you'll likely need to touch the bulk of your money. This is not the time to pull back on the throttle. To generate the kind of growth that turns 500,000 into millions, you need to remain growth-oriented. Now, I know this brings up, what about risk? What about all the volatility in the stock market? Well, I think we need to reframe risk. What is the real risk? Is it short-term market volatility, or is it longevity risk? The risk of outliving your money, or is it inflation risk? The risk of your purchasing power being eroded over a 30-year retirement. That's the real danger. A 40 to 50% bond portfolio in your 50s isn't safe. It is a guaranteed way to lose to inflation and miss out on the most powerful compounding years of your entire life. At 53, you have the time horizon to weather a bear market. The final 10 to 15 years of your working life are infinitely more important to your final number than your first 20. Your base is bigger and the compounding is much, much louder. Growth allocation maximizes returns, but the lifestyle inflation elimination strategy shows how to accelerate the wealth accumulation rate. This one is the silent killer of wealth. It's lifestyle inflation. And it's never more dangerous than when you're in your 50s. Why? Because you've made it. You're at the top of your game. You're in your peak earnings years. The kids are, mostly out of the house. And the temptation is to upgrade everywhere. It's the bigger house, the second home, the really expensive car instead of just a nice one, the $15,000 vacation instead of the $7,000 one. Look, I'm not saying you need to live on rice and beans. You've earned your success, but we're talking about a wealth explosion here. We're not talking about a wealth fizzle. The strategy is beautifully simple. Maintain your current spending levels. The next time you get a raise, a big bonus, or a massive commission, do nothing. Don't change a single thing about your lifestyle. Instead, take 100% of that new after-tax money and shovel it directly into your portfolio. You've already hit the $500,000 threshold. Your portfolio is growing on its own. This is how the leap from 500 to a million happens in 5 to 7 years, not 15. Why is this more powerful than just earning more? Because it's guaranteed. Your investment returns are not guaranteed. Your next raise isn't guaranteed. But a dollar that you don't spend on a new car that you really don't need, it's a dollar that is saved and invested. It's the one part of this entire equation that you have 100% control over. Now, this last one sounds counterintuitive. Wait, I'm in my early 50s. I'm focused on accumulation, building my wealth. Why on earth would we start talking about decumulation or spending it? Because you don't build an airplane while you're flying it. And you certainly don't try to figure out how to land it when you've already taken off. You need a flight plan and you need to build it now. Planning your exit, your decumulation strategy while you're still building is the single greatest strategic advantage that you have. And why pre-55? First, It dictates how you save. Should that next $20,000 bonus go into a Roth conversion, into an HSA, into a taxable brokerage account? Your withdrawal plan dictates your contribution plan. You will know exactly what buckets to fill up in what order to be maximally tax efficient during your retirement. Second, it can dictate when you retire. This is the big one. You might think you have to work until 65, and you might be planning on 65. But when we build a proper decumulation plan, we often find that with the right tax-efficient withdrawal sequence, 62 is more achievable, or maybe 60, or maybe even 58. You will never know unless you plan your end game today. Waiting until the year you retire to ask, so how do I turn this into a paycheck, is a catastrophic multi-six-figure mistake. Planning before 55 gives you time to optimize, course correct, and walk into retirement with absolute confidence. Now that you understand decumulation planning, let's look at the comprehensive wealth explosion framework that maximizes your $500,000 portfolio's potential. So how do we put all of these pieces together? Because this is the real secret. It's not just Roth conversions, it's not just the HSA, it's the entire system. A wealth explosion is not an accident, it's actually engineered. So here's the framework. Number one, you ignite the engine by maximizing your tax advantage vehicles. That means choosing which accounts to save in strategically and treating your HSA as a super vehicle for investment, not a debit card. Number two, you fuel the engine. You need to optimize your asset allocation for your long-term goals, and you accelerate the rate of that fuel by eliminating lifestyle inflation and then weaponizing during your peak income years. Three, you navigate. You build your decumulation strategy today. This guides every contribution and asset allocation decision that you make from now until the day that you retire. This is not hope and pray planning. This is not set it and forget it. This is a dialed-in strategy specifically tailored to you and your goals. Now that you understand the critical actions you must take before 55 that cause retirement wealth to explode after $500,000, and how Roth conversions, HSA maximization, growth allocation, and lifestyle control work together, you can implement these strategies before the wealth explosion window closes. If you need help implementing a comprehensive framework that maximizes your retirement potential, click the link in the description below to book a call. I'll analyze your specific situation to help you optimize your full retirement plan. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.